content is certainly an overtraded word, it would seem, in this day and age, but it is her bread and butter, and she's very passionate about it. Joined now by Machine's Chief Content Officer, Sarah Browning-de Villiers, to speak a little bit about content. And I guess let's kick it off with this, Sarah. What is, in your opinion, content marketing?
Content marketing is about selling a brand or idea without actually seeming to sell the brand or idea. So for me, it's all about kind of guerrilla marketing. So a big part of what I do is come up with strategies and ideas and ways for brands and our clients to sell themselves or a service or a product without a consumer knowing that they're selling it. And that's really about building a long-term relationship by creating content that you actually want as a consumer to engage with. So it could be, the really old school thing is a custom print magazine where a brand kind of owns it, but it doesn't feel like a brand message from start to finish. But in today's day and age, it can be all sorts of things, video content series, e-learning series, whatever a brand needs to do. But I think the big challenge and the big difference is you shouldn't feel like it's a branded piece of content. You shouldn't feel like someone's trying to sell you something. But yes, you're weaving in brand messaging and kind of brand equity throughout.
Tell me a little bit about making the consumer care.
I think by being authentic and delivering something that they need. And I think that's also why I feel so strongly about content marketing and why I think brands who aren't using it are really missing a trick. We as consumers are pretty savvy. We know what we need, we know what we're looking for, we know what we don't want, we know what advertising looks like, and it's quite irritating. And I think if you can be relevant and deliver something that I really, really need, that feels expert, well curated, that's targeted in a smart way, I will engage with you. And actually, I will pay to engage with you too, which is quite a kind of new thing again. What we are finding is that when we deliver content series and content education that doesn't have the brand all over it or product throughout it, actually delivers something that you need to know about. People are lapping it up. And I think what we have to remember, and I think what brands forget sometimes, is that that's a slow burn thing.
Where does the authentic voice come in? Because a brand is always going to have an ulterior motive.
Everyone has an ulterior motive. Yeah. And I think to read any sort of piece of content and not be mindful of that is foolish. You've got to earn that trust as brands, and you've got to maintain that trust, and you've got to be really consistent. So a good content marketing strategy is also consistently strong and consistently relevant. And it's very easy to break that trust.
I guess the trick here though is, when does a brand become a content creator? Because there's content creators and then there's brands who need to advertise. And shouldn't insect repellent be doing content marketing? Does that make sense?
It depends on the creative, it depends on your consumer, and it depends on the need. Look, I don't think there's any point in creating content for content's sake. I do think content marketing, although long term, is highly measurable, so we need to be able to deliver against what for you does success look like and who are you trying to reach. But I would still argue that whoever you're selling to has a need and has an education deficit in a certain area and is looking for you to help solve their problems. And yes, kind of traditional above the line advertising I think is important. I don't think that you have one or the other. I think that this complements everything. But I would argue that a smart content marketer would find a way to add value to that person's lives in an ongoing way so that you don't just buy the insect repellent once, you keep buying it.
Well, somewhat of an overtraded word, but it shouldn't be, because content marketing has clearly got so many incredible outputs for a brand and can do so many great things for a brand. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us to share a little bit more about your insights into the world of content marketing. That there is Sarah Browning-de Villiers, Machine's Chief Content Officer, speaking about content.